Well, it seems that it's finally come time to say that it's, yeah, that my customized Earthrise Megatron, yeah, you're retired. Consider supporting the channel on Patreon, becoming a channel member, or purchase some merch. Links are in the description below. Hey guys, it's RodimusPrimal, and if you are new to the channel, I talk a lot of Transformers news and do retrospectives, and I've got some new videos on the way. And a lot of this Transformers news has got me, wow, it's got me really excited. And not all of it has come from official sources, but right after a lot of it came from official sources, it's like, wow, we get to see everything from Studio Series 86 Megatron to the Reflector dramatic capture with Thundercracker 2-pack, multi-pack, along with Bumblebee and Cliffjumper coming in a 2-pack for their missing Link figures. And also, it's like, geez, man, we're also getting a 4-pack, which I think is pretty cool. But I mean, to get it started, I mean, it's just like, wow, there's so many new Transformers figures. It's like you had a drought of Transformers news, and now the floodgates are open. Once the leaks started hitting, now everybody wants to see all of the figures that are coming out. And the first leak that we finally got to take a look at, I don't know when this figure is coming. I don't know when it's supposed to be released. And you guys know I'm not really a live action fan, so I figure I would talk about this figure first. And that is the Age of Extinction Widowmaker. This was supposed to initially be what would have been like one of the KSI bots that would have fought off against Bumblebee. And now they've taken that concept art and turned her into a figure. And as a figure, it actually looks pretty decent for a concept art figure. Still has a little bit of that Bay aesthetic, which is not really my cup of tea. But I can imagine this figure being retooled into a character like, let's say, Knockout. Especially when you consider the alternate mode, which looks great as well. That orange car looks really nice. Very, very cool. I'm definitely feeling it for sure. It's not necessarily a character that I would go for, but I would be remiss if I didn't talk about it, because I'm sure a lot of fans really want to know about this, know about her. And she was a concept for one of the KSI created Decepticons, and I think it's kind of neat for any new character being added to the mix. We also get official images for Studio Series 86 Scavenger and Mixmaster. This comes from Japan specifically, where it seems that Takara is releasing the images first for them. And this will complete your Devastator once, Scavenger and Mixmaster finally arrive. I just got in the mail both Bone Crusher and Scrapper, and I still need the Long Haul and Hook 2-pack, and then, of course, to get these two in order to complete the 86 Devastator. And looking at them specifically, Scavenger looks like Scavenger. I just, of course, don't like the open area there in the forearms, which has kind of come to the expectations with a lot of figures that come out nowadays. His vehicle mode looks perfectly fine, and then of course you've got Mixmaster here. He looks great. He looks awesome. He looks a lot better than the previous iteration of him, and I am feeling that cement mixer mode as well. Fully combined as Devastator. I also like the fact that the guns are integrated into the robot, so you don't have to worry about losing them as long as they're attached. So it gives them a place to go. And that's the other thing. It's like when the Combiner Wars Devastator first came out, he didn't have additional weapons. He only had the Devastator, rifle, and all the extra parts had to go somewhere when you didn't have them together, and the individual Constructicons didn't have their own weapons unless you got the Takara Unite Warriors version. So it looks awesome. Another Studio Series figure that was a pleasant surprise for a lot of people. If you were a fan of Transformers 1 and you wanted to get the Seekers, Takara has also revealed Transformers 1 Studio Series Starscream. I think he looks pretty cool. Personally speaking, I am just fine with the Generation 1. If they did a new mold for a Generation 1 style, then maybe I would go for it. But this is good for a Cybertronian mode Starscream if you didn't pick up the Siege mold, or if you didn't pick up the 100 other different things that they've done for Starscream, or if you're a fan of Transformers 1, this figure actually looks pretty good. You know, I would get this mold if they did Slipstream. Just putting it out there. Now, I gotta say, this is a very pleasant surprise indeed. Is if you saw, earlier this year, they released, I think it was early this year, earlier or later last year, they were releasing the Missing Link Bumblebee and Cliffjumper figures, and they were in toy accurate deco, so it was a toy styled head for both of them. They've given a new head for the Missing Link Bumblebee and recolored them both. It's going to be in a 2-pack. It's a little on the pricey side, but and I do have the affiliate links below, of course, but you could see it's their Generation 1 alternate modes. The robot modes are pretty cool, and they come with, a variety of weapons. I gotta say, I actually like them a lot. I like the color schemes that they chose for it, going for the cartoon accurate color scheme for, a G1 scaled Bumblebee and Cliffjumper figures. They look great this way. And then when you compare them, like this is the first Missing Link figure for Bumblebee, and you can see the color differences between the two. And the same thing for Cliffjumper. I don't think that they retooled the legs. I think the legs are exactly the same. It's just that they're recolored in order to be a little bit more cartoon accurate. And it's really a matter of preference and whether or not you're willing to spend the money. Now, if you don't know who Hauler is, well, you've got to check out my Grapple retrospective, because I actually talked about Hauler enough to cover who he was in that video, so at least you knew and understand who Hauler was, in addition to who Grapple is, a Season 2 Autobot. So they've taken, Masterpiece Grapple, and they've recolored him into Hauler, which is a pleasant surprise for anybody who is a Hauler fan. I know at least one who is definitely going to be leaving something in the comments. And just getting a look at it as alternate mode, if you've already seen what Grapple looks like, it's no surprise as to looking at, Hauler. The next set I want to talk about is another pleasant surprise, but it's a bunch of repaints and retools. And to no surprise to anybody for at least one of them, well, if you've been trying to get the Headmaster Junior Decepticons, where they had Fangry and Squeeze Play already released in, different Target 4-packs, they finally released the last one, another Skull Cruncher retool into Horrible, and he fits the bill quite nicely. This Ultra Magnus figure, I definitely want to get this Ultra Magnus figure, because the Studio Series 86 Ultra Magnus doesn't have the ability to have the white cab turn into the smaller robot Optimus Prime, of Ultra Magnus in this color scheme. So this would be definitely, filling that gap that the Studio Series 86 figure doesn't have. For Nemesis Prime, it's not necessarily something that I would be interested in, a Transformers animated version. To my understanding, this is a different head, so the faceplate is up where it was not up, I believe, on the Legacy Optimus Prime version of this mold. So, this is still cool to have another Nemesis. But another one that I wasn't expecting was Bumper. Just a new head. Not changing anything else but the head. They didn't change his feet to try and make it look more like the Mazda, Korokyu or Chorokyu, however you want to pronounce it, version of this character. And then, of course, you got the alternate mode. So there they are here. And again, Horrible looks great. Ultra Magnus is a must get. Nemesis Prime is a, okay, that's neat. Bumper is one of those where I wish that the front end was different. Maybe a third-party company can actually do something where, like, you can take out the front end for Bumper and try to change that to make it look more like the actual car that he transforms into, and maybe change out some parts for Bumblebee. Who knows? If they don't do it, that's fine. And it would be cool to have Bumper. He's like one of those characters who's just like, it's not really Bumblebee, right? He was released in Bumblebee and Cliffjumper cards. It was a different mold, and it's a long story. And it's probably a character that I should do a really short retrospective on, right? Because he's not in much, but Horrible is definitely on my list. This is going to be a Target exclusive 4-pack, so it's going to stink for people who have a hard time getting Target exclusives. Probably a whole 4-pack that I wouldn't mind getting the entire set for. Now, continuing with the dramatic capture figures. Now, we are getting Thundercracker and Reflector, and it's finally revealed which version of Reflector it is. A cartoon-accurate version of him, including the parts that came with the toy-accurate redeco of the Siege mold. You know, so you have all the camera parts, but they're all colored, you know, really well. But he also comes along with Thundercracker. Now, this, just getting an actual look at the figures themselves. Here you can see all 3 Reflector bots. I think the color scheme looks a little bit nicer. It's just like an extra splash of paint that kind of goes a long way to make the characters or character look a little bit better. And it's probably a retrospective that I probably should update sometime in the near future. And getting a look at the camera, yes, it does come with the Kremzik accessory, comes with the same camera accessories that came with the toy accurate redeco of Reflector, but it doesn't say anything there in the front because that matches the animation model. And for what it's worth, I think it's definitely something to get if you missed out on any of it. But just to get a closer look at Thundercracker, this is a hard nut to crack because, I mean, I do have Earthrise Thundercracker right here just so you can kind of see him. I think the blue is a little bit nicer on this. Here's the thing about this set. This is a matter of whether or not you want to pay a little bit extra to get that cartoon accurate version of Thundercracker, and you want that cartoon accurate deco for Reflector, and it's really if you want it. And, you know, if you're perfectly fine and set with the Earthrise one, or if you already had gotten one of the Seeker sets of that 4-pack that you could use as Thundercracker, because I think it's almost the same blue, you can go for that too. Or you could say this one is Thundercracker, or this one here is Thundercracker, and this is, you know, a generic Seeker, however you choose to do so. But, you know, and also the other thing is that if you don't have Toy Hacks labels on there, it's just a straight black on there. So there are some subtle differences. It's a matter of personal preference. Okay, so here is the main event. Studio Series 86 Megatron, the figure that I quite literally said is going to retire my Earthrise Megatron. And yeah, it initially leaked, and then Takara had their own images for officially showing what the figure looks like. And I think what ended up happening is that whoever has this prototype has one with a different color scheme than what will be the final version of Megatron. Like, what I mean by that is that the shins are a little bit different. They are a cooler blue than what Takara is showing in their images. That being said, this Megatron looks fantastic. You know, look at his back. They're actually hiding the tank treads inside his legs as best as they possibly can. He has the cannon here, which, you know, gives you that same impression of a G1 style Megatron. It's a very, very clean looking robot. And that's what you wanted. Like, I think that's what, at the end of the day, most of us wanted, was a clean Megatron. He doesn't physically transform into a gun, but he comes with the sword that he uses in the movie and his gun mode as an accessory. And you can put that cannon on his back onto one side of his arms. Here he is standing next to 86 Optimus. And then, of course, here he is standing next to Galvatron. This is where you probably want to get like something to give Galvatron a little bit of boost, because he's going to stand a little bit shorter than Megatron, which I'm not too happy about, but it's just something you're going to have to live with. And just like I said before in my last video, he is not a retool of, you know, Megatronus or the Fallen. He is a brand new mold, and I think that's amazing. It's awesome. He stands taller than Transformers 1 Megatron. Also cool. Here he is next to MP36. So if you want that gun mode Megatron, you can get MP36 if you want to. But standing next to 86 Prime, it just looks awesome. You know, there he is with the sword. And here it is, the tank mode. The thing that every fan is going to go, oh, why did he have to transform into a tank? Here's my personal opinion about Megatron with a gun mode. I've always thought it was awesome that Megatron had a gun mode. I love Megatron with a gun mode. But I understand, and I don't mind the tank mode. And so, looking at this figure, I still want it. It still looks awesome. It still looks great. It has a fully rotating turret. I wonder how they're gonna do if he is gonna be able to tilt the cannon up to be able to like fire on like, you know, a target like from a different angle. I also like how they incorporated the chest plate for the transformation. You can see how clean the undercarriage is. So it has a little bit of wheel there, so it actually rolls very well. That's very cool too. And there it is next to 86 Prime. And of course, Megatron is in tank mode. And Transformers 1 Megatron. And look at how they do the whole transformation, how everything just folds out in order to make this robot work. It makes me wonder if there is a hidden third mode. Someone's going to figure out how to get this figure to transform into some semblance of a gun, or if a third-party company is going to add some attachments, or maybe do the whole Skybound thing where he's still a tank, but you have like a handle attachment somewhere so you can make it feel like it is like an actual gun mode. That would be a possibility. But Takara decided to do their own official image of this figure, and this is where the leaked prototype, I personally believe, was the miscolored variant that it isn't the final version. This is Takara's final. So this is probably what we're going to see both from Takara and Hasbro's offerings. The shins are a darker or more neutral style gray, which is what they were originally in the cartoon. Of course, there he is with the sword, and there you can see the gun mode Megatron accessory. See, this is where they are giving us what we've desired. It attaches to his back as you want it to there, and there the gun mode is on his tank, so you can kind of pretend, for me it's going to be like a two-step transformation. Megatron flips up into the air off camera, the gun mode comes down. That's pretty much it, right? Unless you really want to go through the steps of transforming this tank, and that's perfectly fine too. And there is Starscream holding Megatron in gun mode, so you can reenact the movie as intended. You know, it is the gun mode itself. You know, I know that people wanted to have that role play. I understand you say, well, it's not really, you know, Studio Series 86 Megatron if he doesn't have the gun mode. And then you get the people who say, Megatron in gun mode was always dumb. And it's like, no, it wasn't. It made it stand out from GoBots. You know? Like, it really was a cool thing about Megatron, is that he turned into one of the most personable weapons of violence that you can imagine. A gun. Like, it's what's cool about Megatron. But it's not to say that other alt modes are not cool too. Like, the tank mode is serviceable. I like the tank mode. I like the helicopter mode from Animated a lot more. You know, in particular, I like the Generation 2 tank, and I would like a accurate Generation 2 tank Megatron. That would be cool with the whole shoulder cannon and everything. But here we have 86 Megatron turns into a tank, but he also comes with the accessory for him to turn into a gun. It hits all the marks. The head sculpt is great. The color scheme, looks phenomenal. I think it hits all the notes that you want out of a Megatron and will stand very nicely next to 86 Prime. That's what we wanted more than anything else. And I think it's perfectly, fine. Listen, if you're still up in the air about it, you're still kind of like saying, I'm going to stick with my, Romulus, or I'm going to stick with MP36, that is fine. If you have qualms about this figure, but you still think it's good enough to get, that's cool too. But I wonder what you guys think about this Transformers news. Are you excited about Studio Series 86 Megatron? Do you think it, encapsulates what you wanted out of this character, or do you think that they could have done better? What do you think of all the other Transformers releases that they've come out this week? Of course, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to thumbs up this video, subscribe. I have many more Transformers videos like this, including new and updated retrospectives coming down the pipeline, so stay tuned for all of that. And as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.